It's Valentine's Day, and Drew woke up and made us a delicious breakfast and festive pink smoothie with a lot of good fruits and immunity boosting ingredients in it. Claire loved it. Even though it was healthy, it tasted really good. I'm going to backtrack first and share where I was with the Valentine's Day cardigan just a few days earlier. Trying to speed through this because my deadline for this to be done on Valentine's Day is quickly approaching and a lot more to do. I have not given my attention to this nearly enough to meet the deadline, so I'm kind of speed knitting now to make up for letting a lot of time go by without getting much progress done. So at least I've split for the arms. And I also realized that I made not a big mistake, and I'm not even gonna worry about frogging it and fixing it because, like I said, the deadline is quickly approaching and I want Claire to be able to wear this, but I totally was not paying attention to the pattern very well. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, I think I know what it's saying, and just kind of started in. I realized that something looked a little off on the raglan area. Like the past raglans I've done doesn't look like this one is looking. But it still looks like a cardigan. So I was like, oh, maybe it's just this pattern. Like maybe this is just a different way of doing raglan increases that I haven't done before. My knitting friend is actually surprisingly, I sent her what I was doing. I shared with her this as I got this one started. I sent her a picture of it, and she said that she is also doing the Anna's summer cardigan for her 2-year-old. Funny enough, we both had it cast on, and we were in the same, like we were about to finish the raglan increases, so we were both in the same spot on it, just like randomly. And we got together, my friend Caitlin and I got together to knit and chat and get coffee and tea. And I was looking at hers and we were like, wait, something is definitely different. If I'd done it correctly, it would have gone in the middle. And so I did all the increases out, like on the inside of each of the markers, and I should have done it like saddling the one stitch. I'm such a type B person, and I've just realized that with knitting patterns, I'm like this with building furniture. Like if I get something from IKEA, my husband will sit, I've learned to let him do it because he will sit and read the directions all the way through, then start the project of building the furniture and still stick with reading the instructions as he's going. I get like, I don't read it first. I read it as I go because I'm impatient and want to just get started. And I realize that I'm the same with knitting. I will just start a pattern, and sometimes I will unconsciously, not unconscious, I will subconsciously, words, I will subconsciously think that I just know where the pattern's going, and I'll make a lot of assumptions with a pattern and just think that that's what I'm like, think that that's like the next step. I don't know what part of my brain thinks that that's okay to do, because that's obviously like so going off of like the pattern is written for a reason. Again, like I said, I think having the deadline on this project, not the best idea for me. When I rush my knitting, I tend to be very mistake ridden. I last minute decided to make a modification to the pattern, and I did the short sleeve version of the Anna's summer cardigan, which was something that was already on my Pinterest board for inspiration for one of the girls. So I am totally okay that I ran out of time and ended up doing it that way, because it was something I already thought was pretty cute for spring. So I'm hoping that this cardigan will just get a lot more wear. We're going to Florida soon, and spring, it's about to get warmer out, so I'm hoping that Claire will get a lot of wear out of it. I felt like I also, with this cardigan, got more comfortable with color work rows. It helped me to feel more natural in my rotating knit stitches between English with one color and continental style knitting with the other. I also do feel like it really turned out similar to the inspiration that I saw when I decided to do this cardigan. And aside from the short sleeves, the only other difference is the little heart stitches are actually upside down, and I know I shared that in my recent podcast episode, but I was a little bit surprised as I was knitting it up that they were upside down. I realized I would have had to do something other than a top-down construction. I would have had to start from the bottom and work the stockinette stitch up in order for the pink stitches to look like hearts. But as someone commented on my last video, they are little tiny umbrellas, which I love, and I will just pretend that I meant to do that. So thank you for that comment. I was able to finish the cardigan just in time for our annual Valentine's dinner tradition of going to a local Cajun restaurant, and Claire was thrilled to wear it. She kept saying all dinner, "Mommy, make it," and I just loved seeing her in it. Now that the Valentine's Day cardigan is finished, I'm moving on to making a tank top for myself using this pretty yellow yarn that I already had in my stash. I am doing the pattern the Sailor Swift tank top by Katova Kika, and I'm really just getting a start on it because I want to make sure I like this yarn for myself. It's a yarn that I consider doing something for the girls with. So I am waiting to commit until I see it knit up just a little bit more, but it does feel very sunshiny and giving me all the excitement to be in warmer weather soon. I love knitting so much, and I often knit in the car, but one part of my week that I really set aside to be focused and present in, especially, is Sunday mornings with our girls and going to church together. It's definitely a time and space that I'm absolutely considerate about not knitting and just focusing on us getting to church, us, having a good start to our morning. It would be easy to bring it with me and knit in the car or knit after church, but it's just a time and space that I really want to prepare my heart before we get there and make sure that all of the needs of the girls and me and Drew are met first. So it's just a little boundary that I've put on knitting, since it is easy to want to do it all the time and sometimes become a little bit of an idol. So I am just really cautious of that and creating space to really pursue others and pursue the Lord, especially on Sunday mornings. Our first time going to our favorite place to hike since having Elsie, and it's just like the most beautiful little corner of where we live, area of where we live, to go on a little quick hike. It's got some hills and lots of foliage and trees and wildlife. Yeah, so we're excited to go. After our little hike, we decided to go to our local library. We should go.
Yes. You have bewitched me, body, and soul, and I love you.
If you saw my first vlog, you know we are huge Pride and Prejudice fans, so the idea of going to a play would be awesome, and it sounds like it's local, so we're gonna look into that. Our local library has such a great collection of knitting resources, so I often like to go and see what's new. I've actually recommended a lot of books in the knitting section of our library, and they've actually acquired them, and they do that a lot. So if you're ever wanting to get a book specifically for your library, you can definitely see about asking them to acquire it. I find so many good patterns and inspiration when I look through these books, and it's free, So if you're ever looking for a good, cost-effective way to get some new patterns and inspiration, definitely check out your local library and request some books if they don't have a great collection already. Do you want to go see Pride and Prejudice with us?
Yes. I don't do that.
This weekend was a very busy weekend for us, for good reason. We had a lot of celebrations, and Drew helped me prepare for hosting a nesting party for a loved one who is having a baby. and it actually went super well. We prepared breakfast sandwiches, muffins, protein balls, and I think it will really bless their family when the baby comes. And it was really fun to get together with a community of women to do that. After a really busy weekend, we had a lot at home that needed caught up on, so I got a lot of laundry done and just tidying around the house, vacuuming, catching up on any cleaning that I kind of abandoned this past weekend from just a busy schedule. And then Elsie, after all the busyness of the weekend, she ended up getting a little bit of a cold, and so aside from doing housework, I really tried to sit down and soak up her snuggles. She is so sweet, and I hated to see her sick. We spent a lot of time at home just giving her time to feel better, and thankfully she is feeling better. Sometimes as a stay-at-home mom, it can feel like the tasks are never ending, or the needs that the babies have are also continuous. But the sweetest part of motherhood is just being rewarded by the love that they give you in return and the love that they give each other. Claire and Elsie are just so sweet, and I feel so blessed to be their mom. Claire has been really into reading lately, and that's been our way of bonding. This week I was encouraged in motherhood by this quote by Elizabeth Elliot, and it says, "This job has been given to me to do, therefore it is a gift, therefore it is a privilege, therefore it is an offering I may make to God, therefore it is to be done gladly if it is done for Him. Here, not somewhere else, I may learn God's way, in this job, not in some other, God looks for faithfulness." I was also encouraged this week in motherhood by the scripture I was reading. I've been reading the Gospel of John, and I'm towards the end of it now. And in chapter 19 of John, it talks about how Jesus, as he is dying and in his last bit of suffering on the cross, one of the last things he does is he looks to his mother and asks one of his disciples to care for her and take her in, since he will no longer be there to care for her. And just thinking about how Jesus was in great agony and suffering on the cross, and he still considered his mother and had such a love for her to care for her and provide for her even after he's gone. And something about that just really encouraged me in motherhood. I swatched for the Elizabeth blouse recently and was a little too tight on my knitting to get gauge, so I had one extra stitch than what the pattern recommended. I ended up frogging it and re-swatching, but then the fabric with going up a needle size was a little too airy for me. I did have a recent viewer comment a formula on my last video on how to choose your size when your gauge isn't correct, so I'll leave that here in case it's helpful. I just got to my hair appointment. I'm about to go in, and I'm super excited to get my hair done because it's been about 7 months with having been pregnant. I try to limit myself just on lightening my hair, but I'm really excited to get it done. It's hard to get away from Elsie and Claire sometimes, and this hair appointment usually takes about 3 to 4 hours. So I'm hoping that Drew, I know Drew's super capable, but it is a long time for me to be gone. Thankfully, I booked it during nap time, so it'll hopefully be easier for him, but I'm super excited to get my hair lightened, and I brought my knitting. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I decided to frog the Sailor Swift tank top in the yellow yarn that I was using because I was just feeling like I envisioned this tank top in a different color. So I needed those needles to start a new project and decided to ultimately just frog that. I will use the yarn for the girls. That's kind of the plan. And while I was waiting for my hair to process, it was just a good time to sit and take care of that. Now I am casting on something new for Elsie, and I will share what I'm doing here soon. But my yarn kept getting stuck because I forgot to tighten my interchangeable needles. And I don't know if this happens to any of you guys, but I do tend to do this a lot where I forget to tighten them if I've had to take them off, and then yarn gets stuck and it's a whole mess. So I had to sit and fix that for a while. My hair's all done. It's a lot blonder, and more importantly, it blends a lot better with my roots. So feeling more like myself now. Usually I have her curl it, but I was running low on time with Elsie's feedings, so she just did a blowout, and I'm wearing it straight, and I actually like it. Normally I love it curled, but what can you do? You gotta, you know, mom life doesn't stop, so I have to get Elsie fed here soon. But it was so nice to go and knit, and I really didn't learn my lesson on the cardigan with starting it distracted and cast on a new project while talking to my hairdresser. It was fun to go and get a little me time and get my hair done and knit. I brought my lunch, so I was able to just eat and have some me time. So it was really nice. I'm happy with it. When I got home, Drew had started working on making sushi for us for dinner, which we haven't really done before, so this was a fun little treat. And afterward, we got out for a nice walk.
Monthly knitting nights have sold out, drawing almost 180 visitors each time. Alexander Koch told AFP it's very calming and pleasant. Why not let out your inner granny? So they have to leave the lights on, though, I would assume, if you're going to knit.
Oh, I can only imagine.
The pros don't even look. My grandmother never was down. Yeah. She just absolutely. Then there's a castle on a pillow. Yeah, like it's amazing to me. I think I don't know how anyone can do that. So amazing.
I used to crochet, but I never got the knitting.
It's 55 and sunny out, and we're getting some much needed vitamin D. Drew and Claire are on a little run. He took the jogging stroller so Claire could go with him. Elsie's in her carrier. Brought my knitting. It's pretty hard to knit and carry a baby at the same time, but as a mom of little ones, you gotta knit when you can, and I see it as a little extra exercise to have her on me while I knit and walk. But yeah, just enjoying some beautiful sunshine to end the day. I just wanted to give a little update on what I've been working on with my knitting. I had originally, after finishing the Valentine's Day cardigan for Claire, started a tank top for myself, which I was really excited about since we are going as a family to Florida. We have like an annual trip we usually do in January, and we postponed it to March for kind of like an early spring break. And anyway, I was thinking it would be really fun to create a tank top, finish a tank top hopefully before I leave. I know that's not happening now, which is totally fine, but I had originally cast on the Sailor Swift tank top by Katova Kika. I was really excited about it. I was going to use the yellow yarn, and I started knitting it up, and I just wasn't loving the color for myself. I do love the yarn and I do love the color, so I'm going to save it for a project for the girls. I've also, in the last year or so, been kind of into the idea of color analysis, and I hold it really lightly because I know that I'm not going to change my wardrobe to suit that completely. And for instance, my color analysis says I'm a soft summer, and soft summers, two main colors that aren't their colors are black, which I wear a lot, and bright neon yellows. And honestly, the tank top I was making was starting to be like a bright neon yellow, and I already was unsure about it. And that's just a color that doesn't go great with my complexion. So not that I use that for a baseline even for just everything, but specifically for knitting, if I'm gonna knit myself a garment, I do kind of consider that just a little bit, because the time, the energy, the expense for nice yarn that it takes to make yourself a garment, I do want to know that it's something I feel great in. I'll put a link in the description for the quiz I took. It was kind of fun. Me and my friend Caitlin took the quiz. I'd assumed I was a spring color palette, and then I was just assuming this based on researching it. Now, every person has differences about them, and every person is totally able to enjoy whatever colors they want to wear. So I just want to say that as a disclaimer. Like I said, I hold this very lightly, but with choosing yarn, it is kind of nice to have a guideline for what might be most appealing on you with your complexion. So yeah, just something I've kind of been considering a little bit. I will definitely still be doing the Sailor Swift pattern at some point. You know, I already bought the pattern. I'm really excited about it, but I decided that I would start this. I'm using this book I got from the library. Since I bought a few patterns for myself recently, I was determined to find something I could make with a free resource. So I rented this from the library. It's called Summer Knitting for Little Sweethearts, and it's by, I think her name is Han. I'll link her name in the description. But this is the pattern I'm doing. It's called the Vaha Tunic, and I'm making this little short sleeve shirt for Elsie. It does give you directions to add fabric to make it a tunic. I don't think I'm going to do that, at least to start, but if I feel like it would be, fun to add something, or if I find a fabric I really like, I will add that to it eventually. For now, I'm just making the short sleeve little knit top, and I'm using the Sewrella. This is the costume party colorway that I got from their Oopsie sale, and this is how it's knitting up. It's very fall, but I think that it's very girly and fun, so it'll be pretty. Since I am doing this for Elsie, my thought for maybe for the tank top is when we travel, I love to get yarn kind of as my souvenir for the trip. So I think we're going to go to a yarn shop while we're in Tampa, and I am really excited to hopefully find yarn for the tank top I've been wanting to make, and I'll have it for summer. I'm a little bit like feeling more inspired by summer knits right now, even though maybe it's just because I'm going to Florida, but yeah, overall, I'm pretty excited to do a tank top. It sounds like it'll knit up kind of quick, which always feels rewarding. And then I also got the pattern for the Sweet Breeze tank top and the stripe pipe sweater. So I have those in mind for eventual projects that I want to work on. They're just kind of patterns that I wanted. And anyway, so that's the update. I have been feeling a little less inspired than normal. I've definitely been in a busy season of life right now. Like obviously having two little kids, having a 2-year-old and like a 4-month-old. Elsie just turned 4 months yesterday. And I'm just feeling a little bit like maybe I just feel like I'm on the fast I'm doing life in the fast lane right now, is how it feels. And we've been in and out of sickness and just a lot going on socially. Trying to keep Elsie like healthy through it all has been, just trying to protect her and be mindful of what we say yes to all the time. But also, just big life events like people in our family having big birthdays and babies and, showers and different things. So wanting to be present while also wanting to be cozy at home and slow down. It's always like a fine balance for me. So yeah, we've been in a busy season. I think my creativity definitely feels less when I have a lot on my plate, which is probably true for anyone. But I am excited to go for a week and just enjoy some beach time, some family time, vacationing with the girls for the first time, Elsie's first time, going anywhere, traveling. So, yeah, we're just excited to have some family time. And I'm sure with all the extra helpers, my sisters, my mom, my grandparents, I'll probably get a little extra knitting time in and hobby time. So, yeah, that's the update. And I'm hoping to vlog the trip. So, we'll see what all we end up doing in Florida, but I'm hoping to share a little bit of that with you guys. And that's kind of the update for now. Hopefully, I get some more progress done on this little tunic top. Yeah, I'll probably sit during nap time and work on this and watch a knitting podcast. I really love watching, I know I mentioned it in the last podcast episode, but those twins who knit, and I really love watching Kotobakika on Instagram. And there's also a new podcast that I found recently. and it's Paige and Liz. So I'll probably watch some of those and get a little knitting done this nap time.